This is the weirdest NBA season in a long time. The coronavirus pandemic has forced the NBA to play games in a restricted bubble environment. So the added advantage of home court just got flung out of the window. Now, this is exciting because it increases unpredictability. And as NBA fans, we've been yearning for unpredictability ever since the Warriors super team started dominating the league. So right now, some unconventional weird things can actually come out of the bubble. So who are the sleeper teams that nobody really is talking about that can actually make a considerable push in the playoffs? Is it the Denver Nuggets? Well, Troy Daniels just leaked that the Nuggets don't have their full roster. They have only 8 to 9 guys available, with Coach Malone taking part in practices with them. Yikes. The Jazz have been very inconsistent this season and Bogdanovic is out, so there's like a loss of 17 to 20 points per game, and Mike Conley has had difficulty adjusting to their system. The Thunder have been playing really well of late, especially in these last few scrimmages, but they don't really have an All-NBA superstar to rely on. Speaking of All-NBA superstars, the Dallas Mavericks have one of the best players in the league, Luka Doncic! Luka Magic, Luka Mania. Well, hype him up all you want because he deserves it. Luka Doncic has taken that superstar leap this year and is in the freaking MVP conversation at 21 years old. That's crazy. Not to mention the 7'3" unicorn that Kristaps Porzingis is, who was balling out the last time we saw him. KP has given Luka that second star to shoulder some of the burden and let Luka really shine. Now, the Mavs last season had a bright spark in Luka Doncic, but not much else, and the team really needed to mature and add some pieces. Last year, they were 20th in offensive efficiency and 21st in points per game. But this year, they're first in offensive efficiency and third in points per game. Now, I'd call that some significant growth. They have two of the top 30 players in the NBA, depending on where you rank Porzingis, and have a solid cast to support them. That's what you need in the playoffs. Rotations grow shorter, you'll be playing only 8 to 9 guys that you really trust, and the Mavs are built for the playoffs. So without further ado, hey guys, this is the Indian Hooper back at it with another video for you guys. If you enjoy this content, make sure to support this channel by liking the video and subscribing if you can. So in this video, I'm going to discuss why the Dallas Mavericks are sleeper contenders for the NBA title this year, and I'll be discussing 3 reasons why I believe they are. Starting with number 3, the roster and the role players. The Mavs have had some of the best role players in the league this year. If you look at Tim Hardaway Jr., he was considered a washout with a bad contract last season. But this year, he's turned it around and he's averaging 16 points per game on 40% 3-point shooting. He gives the Mavs a legit third option in the scoring threat department, and defenses can't ignore him. Seth Curry is also one of the best role players in the league in my opinion. He shoots the 3-pointer better than his brother Steph, which is crazy actually, at 44% per game. And you can see the Mavs giving him more minutes as he's proven to deserve it. I would love to see a pick and roll action with Luka, Porzingis and Seth Curry. Could you imagine Luka either popping or rolling to the basket, and when he rolls to the basket finding Porzingis for an open 3-pointer, or just Seth Curry coming off the screen and draining a 3-pointer on his own? Man, that would be crazy. Then they also have Delon Wright, JJ Barea, Maxi Kleber and Dorian Finney-Smith, who are all solid players. But I don't know if you can rely on them for lockdown defense against elite wings in the Western Conference like Kawhi and Paul George, amongst others, in a 7-game series. So if the Mavs have one weakness, that's what it is: perimeter wing defending, which is actually a big weakness in the West, as there are so many dominant wing players. But overall, I think the Mavs have a solid supporting cast who will help Luka and Kristaps shine when the lights are brightest. Number 2, seeding games. The Mavs are currently the 7th seed with a 42-26 record before stoppage in play. But the most important thing to note here is that the 7th seed doesn't truly reflect how good the Mavs really are. This season has been washed out by insurmountable injuries. Their center, Dwight Powell, tore his Achilles early in the season. Luka Doncic had an ankle injury which put him out for a few weeks. And Porzingis just joined the team halfway through the season. So you can see why the Mavs are so much better than what the 7th seed reflects. So in the next 8 games in the bubble, the Mavs actually have the 11th toughest schedule and are currently 1.5 games behind the Thunder in the 5th seed and the Rockets in the 6th seed. Now the Rockets have been playing really well, so I don't know if they'll drop many games, but they do have a harder schedule. The Thunder have been playing really well off late in the scrimmages, but they too don't have a go-to superstar that they can rely on in the playoffs, like I said. So I could easily see the Mavs moving up to the 6th or even the 5th seed, which means they'll either be taking on the Jazz or the Nuggets respectively. If either of these scenarios play out, I would certainly pick the Mavs over both teams. The Jazz have Donovan Mitchell, but their best player is arguably Rudy Gobert, who isn't much of an offensive threat, and if you do a head-to-head comparison, Luka is much better than Donovan Mitchell. Gobert is slightly better than Porzingis on the defensive end, but Porzingis will smoke him in the offensive end and draw him out to the 3-point line so as to neglect Gobert's rim protecting capabilities. So his defense on the whole will take a hit. If the Mavericks do play the Nuggets, I'd still pick the Mavericks because this is a hot take, but Porzingis when fully healthy is better than Nikola Jokic in my opinion, and is way better on defense, certainly. Now Luka Doncic has no one to rival him on the Nuggets side. Who's going to counterbalance what Luka does on the offensive end? Jamal Murray? No, I don't think so. Now in the second round, the Mavs will face either the Lakers or the Clippers, and I think they'd rather face the Clippers because LeBron and AD are too much for them, both experience-wise and talent-wise. Right now, that is. You might think, well, the same holds good for Clippers, they're also very talented, but I think they match up better with the Clippers because the Clippers have absolutely nobody to guard Porzingis. Much like they have nobody to guard Anthony Davis on the Lakers. What do you want, Zubac to run out to the perimeter to contest Porzingis' long-range bombs? Come on. Harrell and Morris are way too tiny compared to Kristaps, so he'll have a field day shooting those 3-pointers. Number 1. They have Luka and Porzingis. That's good enough to be the number 1 reason. We all know that Luka isn't an ordinary rookie or any other second-year player. He was dominating in the Spanish league against grown men, and he even won the MVP and a championship there. So he already has experienced real pressure and it's nothing new to him. He plays like a seasoned veteran already and says the NBA is actually easier than the EuroLeague because it's so spaced out, which I partially agree with. One of the biggest facets of Luka's game is the poise and the pace with which he plays with. Nobody can speed him up nor slow him down, and he always dictates the pace, which is very impressive for a 21-year-old in the NBA. He gets past defenders with crafty moves like his hesitations, ball fakes, and step backs. He's adept at making the perfect reads on pick and rolls and always makes the right pass. If you're open, Luka Doncic will find you. He's perfected his high-arcing floater to a point where you don't know if it's a lob or a shot. He makes this perfectly weighted overheaded passes and finds the open shooter quite often. Luka possesses what only some of the greatest NBA players in history like LeBron, Magic and Bird possess, and that's making your teammates better. He elevates their standards almost to a point where the value gets falsely inflated. He makes sure to get them the ball in their favorite spots and in the right position. People often knock Luka for not being athletic enough, but honestly, he has some real deceptive athletic abilities. Athleticism isn't defined by vertical or being able to do 360 windmill dunks. It also has a lot to do with acceleration and deceleration, body control, balance, and overall strength. While Luka can't jump out of the gym like let's say a Zion Williamson, he has the perfect attributes that make him really crafty. He has really good body control and never loses his balance. If you notice when he drives to the rim, even good defenders can't really knock him off his course, and he always dictates how he reaches the rim whilst also dictating how the defenders move with him. This obviously means he does have strength to drive in. Another knock against Luka's game is that he plays similarly to James Harden, like I said. If you repeatedly throw multiple bodies at Harden or double team him, the chances are you can slow him down, or cause a turnover, or make him give up the ball and turn into a spectator on the baseline. Because he's mostly a spot-up shooter off the ball, he isn't great and adept at making off-ball movements. But Luka Doncic is actually very good off the ball. The Mavs have designed so many plays where he receives the ball through handoffs and screens and the occasional Iverson cut. Luka moves into positions where he can receive the ball back and doesn't just wait in the corner waiting for things to happen. There's so much I've said about Luka and I haven't even gotten to Porzingis yet. Now Porzingis is very unique because he's a mismatch for everybody in the league. Nobody can actually guard a 7'3" guy who can bomb from 30 feet, either because they're not tall enough or they're not quick enough. The only player I see having a shot at guarding him is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Other than that, nobody can really think of guarding Porzingis. He is vital to the Mavs defense because he's renowned for his protection of the rim. And since Luka isn't great on defense, KP helps in disguising Luka's deficiencies on defense. KP spreads the floor so much on offense and allows Luka to penetrate and dish to open shooters, and allows Mavs to play that 5-out offense I've been seeing a lot since February. In the last 15 games that Porzingis has played, he's averaged 25.2 points per game, 10.3 rebounds per game, and 2.2 blocks, all on 47% field goal percentage and 37.5 3-point field goal percentage. Which sounds like an all-star to me, but the key to the Mavs' success is how well KP can perform in the postseason. We all know what we'll get from Luka, but if Porzingis balls out like a superstar we've seen him do in Spurs before, the Mavs have a shot against anybody, and anything is possible.
Anything's possible! Anything's possible!
Now, all this can possibly not play out in the bubble, and the Mavs can go out in the first round for all I know. But you can't argue that the Mavs are set up to be dominant for the foreseeable future. Please comment your thoughts below in the comment section down there on how far you really see the Mavs going this season. What do you guys think? If you like this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Just remember, with Luka Doncic, anything is possible.